WandaVision, Episode 3. Let's go ahead and review it. So WandaVision, Episode 3 is in Technicolor. I actually really like that they added that into this episode. And I'm finding that the intros of this show are even just as interesting as the actual show itself. And I love the fact that they changed up every single decade that they're moving forward to in time. This episode sees us in the 70s sitcom era as Wanda is preparing to have her babies? ? Vision is nervous as a dad, and the interesting thing is, we know that her pregnancy is insanely fast. It is not a normal pregnancy. That's also because she's a mutant, so it kind of makes sense. And her babies, instead of 9 months, it takes about maybe 9 hours for these babies to be brought into this world. We also get a little bit more of background into what is actually happening. Wanda and Vision are starting to get cued in more. They're starting to get clued into more of what is actually going on here. And we're kind of starting to see maybe a conspiracy, because all of these people that are inside of this simulation with Wanda and Vision, they're all in a sense actors, and they're playing these parts for the benefit of Wanda and Vision. And you get to see that. There's a very interesting moment in this episode where Vision is outside and he is talking to his friend. I believe his name is Herb, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Herb is outside and he's trimming the hedges of his tree. However, he takes the chainsaw and he starts cutting the actual bricks that is kind of his fencing between his house and Vision's house. And now the interesting thing is that there is something going on to where he kind of loses a little bit of a sense of himself. Now, one of the interesting things is, this kind of gets me to some theories that maybe these people knew that they were going into a simulation, but now they're so brainwashed into this world that they don't believe it. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of Get Out in a lot of different ways. You know how in Get Out, in that movie, all of the people that were working for this family, they were all brainwashed. And there was something going on. Something wasn't right. You just knew that there was glimpses of them actually kind of coming out of that character because the other personality is trying to fight back. And I feel like that is what's happening with this show. And this episode kind of clues us in a little bit more into that, which is insane in itself that this show would explore those types of themes. And that's why I really enjoy it. Geraldine, who is trying to help Wanda, as Wanda is giving labor, you come to find out that Geraldine is not who she says she is, which we all knew this because it's Maria Rambeau. And Wanda finds out, and then Vision kind of finds out through Agnes, who is gossiping about her. There's a lot to kind of digest in this episode. And Geraldine is a very interesting character at the center of this story, because we don't necessarily know why she was in there. We know that she was trying to maybe find information out about Wanda's whereabouts, maybe about the state of where Wanda is. Was she trying to do more good than harm? I don't necessarily know, and it's kind of left up to the interpretation. And I guess we'll kind of see as the layers start to unfold a little bit more every single episode leading up to the final episode. And so Geraldine is a very interesting character in this entire story. You also get some really good moments of Vision humor, because Vision is not really Vision. And I talked about that in the last video that I made where I reviewed episodes 1 and 2, so make sure you guys go check out that video. You can see that Vision's not really himself, and there's something going on that's even deeper than that. My theory is, and well, it's not Vision because Vision's dead, but my theory is that this projection of Vision is trying to figure out who Vision actually was, but they're not very reliable into what Vision actually was. And that's the problem. They don't actually understand the subject that they're interpreting, if that makes any sense. Geraldine kind of spills the beans about Wanda's brother and the fact that he died from Ultron. And that is your first glimpse of world building outside of this show that we've kind of had, other than the kind of mentions of being an Avenger and Segovia and all these different things. But this is kind of the first mention of something that actually happened in the past that we can kind of connect to with these characters. So that was really interesting. And then Geraldine gets thrown out of this world. And that's why I also believe that Wanda knows that something is going on and that she's volunteering for this simulation in some type of way. And Geraldine, at the end of this episode, you see her outside of the dome, I would say, this force field. And she's laying on the ground, and you see the feds come to potentially get answers from her and maybe also SWORD itself as an organization. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to digest. All I want to say is, in terms of this episode, this is, so far, I mean, it's only been 3 episodes, the best episode, because it gives us a little bit more clarification as to what is happening in this world, where these characters are, where these characters are going. We also get the twins, which is really great to see, the twin boys, which are going to be crucial and vital, not only to this story, but to the story moving forward of the MCU, with the idea of the multiverse being created and possibly Wanda being the reason for why it started. And I believe that those twins are also going to set up for tragedy for the character, which is going to be in itself its own foil that the character is going to have to overcome. And it's going to be very interesting where the season goes from here, because I feel like this is the end of Act 1. It feels like the first 3 episodes are Act 1, establishing the setting, figuring out kind of a little bit what's going on, and then unveiling that. And moving forward to Act 2, we could see actually the villain pan out over the next couple of episodes. How are they going to be able to put in certain characters, like Evan Peters' character, the character of Quicksilver in the MCU? I don't know, and maybe that's going to kind of lean more into the multiverse. But this is a really interesting show that is, again, very different, but we're starting to peel back the layers, and I'm really liking what I see. I like the fact that we have to wait a week to kind of theorize, unveil what's going to happen next, and it's almost like getting a present every single Friday. So WandaVision, episode 3, the best episode of the season so far. There's still a lot of questions, and I know that they're going to be answered. And how is Geraldine, how is she going to be able to influence Wanda from potentially outside of this experiment? It's going to be very interesting to see, and I'm looking forward to it. Wanda really is the most powerful Avenger, let's just say that. Anyway, guys, those are my thoughts on episode 3 of WandaVision. What did you guys think? Let me know down below in the comment section of this video. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed it. Consider subscribing to the channel for more content just like this, and I will see you guys next week for WandaVision episode 4. Peace.